In this video, I'm going to discuss what is copy and move command and other user management commands. So let's access into our machine. So I already started it. Let me copy my public IP and then SSH space -i, give the key name and the username Ubuntu at the right IP address. Okay, that's fine. We are in to ls. We got some files. So before doing something, try to understand what is dollar, and if you do sudo su, you can see it pound or hash. So what does it mean actually? So if you see hash, that means root user. That means you got all permissions on the system. So if you see dollar, so you got some limited permissions, or you're a normal user. So just try different. That's the difference. Like in Windows we have administrator account. So whenever you want to install something, then it's gonna ask for yes or no, right? Sometimes, right? So that's what it means. So let's exit. So the command to be a sudo user, just type sudo space su. So in this case I didn't set a password, so that's why it didn't ask. We will discuss that too in later lectures. So let's exit now. So a cp, what does it do actually? So let me create a file, touch, I'm going to say index.html. so if I do ls now, I can see that file. So if you want to copy this file, so like in Windows we got copy paste, like here we got cp command. Cp means copy. So copy here source, then destination where you want to send. So in this case I just want to copy here itself, so I'm gonna say index copy. So I didn't give any specific path, so that's why it's copied here only, so you can see that. So if you want to copy to this folder, what you can do, cp index.html and then give that folder name. Even you can change the file name too. So I'm going to say copy.html. Now if I do ls-l, so if you want, even without going into without cd into the directory, still you can see the file. So you can see that copy.html file. So that means you can rename the file or folder as well, or directory as well. So if I want to copy this directory, so whenever you are copying directory, if I do from here itself, I'm going to say DevOps copy. So while copying directories, it's going to ask for -r. What does it mean? So -r means copy this directory inside. R means recursively. That means everything inside the directory. That's why it's going to ask you to put -r after cp command. That means recursively. Now you can see the file. So move can be used to move the file as well as rename the file. So if I want to move this file to this this directory, how can I do? Move space index.html. So move, this is source, and where you want to copy, where you want to move, I want to move it to DevOps copy, for instance. Okay. So if I do ls-l now, so I don't see that file anymore because that's been moved to this DevOps copy. So if I want to rename this file, how can I do? Move, give the file name and the new file name. I'm going to say new index. If I do ls now, we rename that file. So this is how we can use cp and move commands. And now let's discuss user management. So how you going to do user management? So for instance, you joined in a company, maybe you are an administrator and some other guy joined in your company. So you need to give permission on this Linux machine for the new user. How you gonna add that user? Are you gonna give your username and password? No, you won't do that. So you add an user inside the system, then you're gonna share those credentials with the new guy or girl. So in that case, how you gonna do? First you need to be root user. So this user already got permissions, so that's why just do sudo su for blindly for now. Later lectures we can discuss this. Just do sudo su. So now we can see hash here, that means root user. So just try to add without root user. So I'm exited. You can try, you can run these commands too. id means it shows uid. So basically user id starts from 1000 only, 1000, 1001, 2, 3 and goes on. And less than 1000 user id, that means mostly system users. And you can say root users id is 0 always. Just do sudo su. Now just type id. So now you can see root user. You want to know which user you logged in as, then type command whoami. So it says root because we run sudo su and we can see hash here. If I exit, if I run whoami again, now it says that Ubuntu user. So I logged in as Ubuntu user. There is no hash here. So how you gonna add a new user? Just the command run add user space and the username. For instance, I'm going to say Rishi. Yeah, it says that only root may add a user or group to the system. So we are just a normal user, so we don't have permission. If you do sudo space add user Rishi now, oh, that user is already exists. So okay, if you want to delete user, you can run sudo userdel space and the username. Okay, sudo userdel space username. User Rishi is currently used by process 901. Okay, what you can do, you can kill that. Kill means stop it. Sudo space kill and the process ID 907. Just make sure while using this command it's gonna stop it. For instance, let me open in my Mac. So probably let me open this one. If I do PS, that's fine, let's run something else. So here if I do PS, I can see these are the ones active now. So this is active now. If I come to my Mac, I opened a new terminal. If I do PS again, if I do kill and the process ID, now this one is going to exit because we are closing the process. See, it says connection closed. So that's what process means. Process means something is running behind. Let's reconnect. So we are trying to delete user. Just run command userdel, and here it shows up. Let's kill it. So just do sudo kill 907. Whenever you're running sudo in front of any command, that means you're trying to access as an administrator. Now you killed it. Now you can delete that user. Okay, still it says currently user Rishi is currently used by process 9071. Maybe did I connect it to? No, I don't think so. Actually, we can run some of the we can finish it forcefully. I think we can see that into as well. So if I do PS, if I kill 9443, no process 9416. Let's rerun that command again. Actually, we can kill it forcefully as well. I forgot that. So kill forcefully. Yeah, okay, kill -9. So let's use that sudo -9 9071. Now let's try to delete. Now it's been deleted. So you can use -9 to kill the process forcefully. So of course nobody remembers everything, so just try to have an idea. So at least you should know which command to use. Then you're done. You can Google it, you can chat GPTs. So just you can manage things. Now you want to add a user. So as I said, any user, maybe Madhukar joined in a company, so you need to create a Madhukar user ID on this Linux machine. Then how are you going to do? You can run the command add user and the username, then give the password, give it a name, and then Y. So now that user has been added. So whenever you create a user, it automatically gonna create a group as well. So the group name would be the same as username, and it automatically adds that user to users. So these are non-privileged users. Non-privileged means they have less permissions on the system. So how you can check, whenever you create a user with a home directory, you usually see his home directory under /home. So if you create a new user, you're going to see that user name appears here as well. So earlier we deleted that user Rishi, but we didn't delete his user home directory. That's fine. So now we create a new user. So how you gonna give permission to how Madhu is going to connect to this machine now? So we basically don't enable password authentication. So because passwords can be, somebody can brute force it. Brute force means they can try different combinations of passwords. Maybe you could have heard rocku.txt that contains some lakhs of passwords, leaked passwords into that file. So they can try that. That's why we don't enable password authentication in production systems. So they use key pairs. So now let's discuss what is key pairs. So key pair, that the name itself suggests that key pair. So it contains couple of keys. So you got a Linux machine here, for instance our Ubuntu machine, and you got your laptop. So when we were creating a Ubuntu machine on AWS, we downloaded the private key, the .pem, right? That's that what we use it for connecting. So in this case, you want to give a key to this Madhu. So now you're gonna do what you can do. Actually, you can go to your command prompt or terminal, then you can run ssh-keygen space -t rsa. So when you run this command, it says generating public and private key. You can see here. That means it creates couple of keys. Okay, couple means two keys. One is private and one is public. So you can see over here. So I don't want to enter any file name, so I'm gonna enter it. So I'm not going to override because I already do have keys. So if in your case, if you never run this command, you don't see this option. So I'm gonna pray. If you don't see anything, just enter yes. You don't need to enter passphrase for now. So that's fine. I'm gonna enter no. So once you run this command, it's gonna create keys under this under user's home directory. So in my case, I'm in Windows machine. I logged in as a Rishi, so I can go to this path and I can see the file. So let's go over there and see users Rishi and then .ssh. Here we can see IDRSA. So if you go back to terminal again, you can see IDRSA right under this directory. So whenever you see that IDRSA, there's a pub. You can see here pub file. So that means a public file. In Linux, you can see it as IDRSA.pub. So that means public file. So you need to put this public file in the remote system. So in this case, this machine, this Ubuntu machine, and this private key you're going to keep it yourself. So whenever you want to connect it to that machine, you're going to use this key. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna open it and then say Control A, Control C. So where you gonna put this, where you need to put this file? So exactly you need to put this file under this directory. Okay, what you can do here, the target machine is our Ubuntu. Then you need to add /home. Your username is Madhu, and here if you have this .sss directory, that's fine. If you don't have it, create it, and then you need to add a file authorized keys. The spelling should be authorized z underscore keys. Okay, you must name it as authorized keys, and then you're gonna copy here what you're gonna give idrsa dot public key. Public key is like a lock and the private key is like a key. So if you want to open your door, you need to have your key, right? So nobody opens your door without a key, and it needs that specific key only. It doesn't work with other keys. So that's what it does. So you need to have this key. So now let's do that. So we copied that idrsa pub key, and then you need to go to this directory, right? And then go to cd /home Madhu. You do okay, you don't have the data, that's fine. Okay, because you need to be a sudo user because you logged in as a Ubuntu user, so you're trying to access this users directory. So we just add sudo in front of it. Sudo, that's fine. What you can do, actually you can run sudo su. So instead of, if you want to, instead of putting sudo in every in front of any every command, just type sudo su. So now you are a sudo user. Let's jump into the directory. That's a hidden folder, so if you do ls hyphen, you don't see. If you need to add lsa, still you don't see that directory, just create it. Make directory ssh, then jump into the directory. Now you can create that file. So I'm going to use vi. The file name should be authorized keys, and once you run that, so usually it appears like this. You need to press I. Once you press I, you can see insert here, and then paste it. Then once you paste it, click on escape. You don't see insert here, and then colon WQ, that's write and quit, then exclamation. It initially it seems overwhelming, but once you get used to this VI editor, it's gonna be easy. So now we are done. Now let's jump back to this system again. We need to go to this location. I'm gonna say cd. Okay, let me remove this. Okay, now ls doesn't work out in Windows, dir actually, yeah. And then clear cls. Okay, just do dir again. Now let's try to connect to that user Madhu. ssh space -i, give that private key idrsa, and then username is Madhu, then at the right, and the public IP of that machine. So I'm gonna copy it, paste it, enter, and then yes. What happened? Of course it's not gonna yeah, we are in, sorry. So this is how you're gonna say. So you're gonna create a key pair for him. If you use standard keys, then you can share with him, but usually create a key pair, then you're gonna add him, and then you're gonna share that key with him, then he's gonna connect it. And this user, if he now if I type ID, now we can see ID 1001. So you can type groups to know which groups he is in. As I said, it creates usernames group, and users. It automatically adds to that non-privileged users group. If he tries to run sudo, let me enter his password. My Windows machine it sucks, mate. That's fine. Let me even still here, from here as well I can switch to that user. So as I logged in as a root user, so I don't need to enter his password. Straight away I can switch it, because this user is administrator user. So if I do ID, if I try to run sudo su from this user, because this user is trying to be as an admin, yeah, it says that Madhu is not in the sudo user. We just created that user, but we didn't add that user to that particular group. So once you add that Madhu to that particular group, sudo's group, then it's gonna get sudo's permission. Okay, now at the time we didn't add it. So if you later we knows that Madhu is a admin user as well. So what you can do, you can make him as admin, make him as an admin. So what you need to do, you can run the command user mode, that means user modification -a append, G stands for group, that means you can append the group to that user to the group, and the group name is sudo. In order to get the sudo permissions, you need to be in that sudo's group and then give the username. Now let's switch to Madhu again. If we run sudo su again, now put the password, now he will be able to run the sudo users commands, because he is in the sudo's list. So let's exit. Let me exit again. Okay, let me log into sudo user again, Madhu again. If I type groups now, we can see that sudo group here. So this is how we do that in a real time. And if you want to change permission password for any user, for instance, I logged in as a Madhu user now. I can run the command whoami as well. So that shows who you are. I'm Madhu. So if I want to change password, you can run the command passwd space and the username. So if I try to run change other users permission, I logged in as a Madhu now. So if I try to run as try to change the permission of Rishi, oh, that user doesn't exist. Okay, maybe a test, I think a test user we got. Oh, test doesn't exist. That's fine. Let me quickly create a new user. Add a user space test. That's fine. Now let's change to Madhu. Now you are Madhu user. You can check ID as well. If I try to change password of that user, that's a test. It says you may not view or modify password information for the test, because we logged in as a Madhu user. So we need to get sudo permissions. For that you can do sudo password. That means you are running as a sudo user now, because you are in the sudo's group. Now you can change the test user's password. So you change the password successfully. If you want to change yourself, you can do passwd. You don't need to put if you don't put any username, that means you're trying to change the password of the logged in user. So it's going to ask for a current password and then new password. Oh, you must choose a long okay, I'm just choosing the a simple password, so it needs to be a certain strength long, but I don't want to change it. That's fine. So this is how you can change. Come on, okay, that's fine. Now if you want to delete a user, we already seen the command. We covered user mod as well. Okay, what's the difference between add user and user add? Okay, add user, and we got user add. So when you run this command add user add, it runs as an interactive. So if you run user maybe Kali, so okay, you need to be sudo. So let's run sudo su, then add user curly. So it comes as an interactive, like you need to enter password and the name. That's been created. Now if you run instead of add user, if you use user add, maybe ready. So it didn't ask for password, so it just creates an user simply. So it's not an interactive thing. So if I do ls-l /home, so whenever you this is we call it home directory. So whenever you create a new user, if he usually gets a home directory inside this /home. Yeah, you can observe one more thing as well. So we added user ready with the user add command. So it basically didn't create any home directory inside this home directory. Okay, but when you add user, it creates a home directory as well. And that's an interactive command, and it asks for password as well. Now we don't have password for this user. We need to set it up with the passwd command. So whenever you add any user, that usually the Linux contains every user's information under this directory /etc/passwd. So this file contains all the details of all the users. Okay, you can see it here. So that's all for this video. I'm gonna next video I'm gonna add a file permissions and ownership. Just try to it. Linux is easy, man, trust me. Just you need to practice again and again. That's the only thing you need to do. Just don't afraid about these terminal. Okay, I'm just repeating again. Thank you so much for watching, guys.